Hey, welcome to the Summit Host Hangout podcast where you'll learn how to plan, strategize, and launch your profitable online summit. No influencer status necessary. I'm your host, Krista from Summit in a Box, and today in episode 87, we're going to cover a hot topic that I have seen coming up a lot lately, and that is whether or not you need to pay your virtual summit speakers. So we're going to cover the two sides of this argument, my thoughts on when you do and don't have to pay your speakers, and what to do if you just straight up can't afford to pay your speakers. Before we dive in, I want to invite you to join the Summit Host Hangout Facebook group. This is a group of summit hosts who have all come together to get support and support each other in the summit planning journey. If you find yourself running into issues like this, like should I pay my speaker, should I not, anything else, this is the perfect place to go to ask questions and just get a variety of opinions and input. It's a really active group, so you're bound to hear all sides of the story and be able to make the best decision for you. So you can join this free community by going to summitinabox.co/community. So let's start by touching on the two sides of this argument. We're going to start with side number one, which is that you have to pay your speakers. So this whole thing came about because a friend sent me a Instagram or IGTV video that someone did recently getting pretty sassy about summits where the hosts don't pay their speakers. And I'll be honest, there was a lot of bad attitude going on and it got me fired up. So I just couldn't watch it. Like I get way too fired up when people are acting like they're better than everyone else. So I got the general idea and I stopped watching. But like the opinion on this side is that you just have to pay your speakers, both for their time and for their expertise. Their thought on this is that it's oppressive, I'm saying that in air quotes, to not pay speakers, especially when they're people of color. And I don't say the word oppressive to make fun of like the word or oppression, but because this is like just a non-issue in the form of what oppression actually looks like, that I just have to use air quotes whenever I say it. I will be using them throughout the episode. But they see it as taking advantage of people to expect them to speak in a summit to grow your business without paying them. So if you're using a summit to grow your business and you're not paying people who are a part of it, you're taking advantage of those people. I get that. I get where that viewpoint is coming from, but I don't agree with it with the way I teach summits. So maybe the people who are saying this have just had really crappy summit experiences or they don't know how to host summits correctly, but I do not agree with it. So let's go on to side number two, which is that you don't have to pay your speakers, which is clearly the side that I tend to be on. I'm already getting sassy and I'm trying to keep it cool, but we'll see how this goes. Summits are a group effort where everybody benefits if they want to, and if they're willing to do a couple little extra things to let them benefit. It's an opportunity for them to get in front of an engaged and targeted audience, to grow their email list, which they can then sell to, and make money directly through affiliate commissions. Now, if you're listening to this being like, nope, that doesn't work, you have not been a part of a summit that's done correctly, because it does, and I will get to an example of that shortly. Instead, I want to move on to more of my opinions about whether or not you need to pay your speakers, and I want to start with that thought that it's oppressive to not pay speakers, especially people of color. First, I'll say that it was a white person saying this, and I'm not really sure that it was something she was in a position to say. Like, did she consult with people of color to ask if they felt oppressed by being asked to speak at events? She was speaking about a specific summit that came out with a white host who had a really high majority of people of color speakers, which is what triggered her to say that. Like, I looked at that lineup and I was like, this is awesome. Look at all these people being featured. But also knowing the people in that lineup, if they would have felt oppressed, they certainly would not have agreed to it. Like, they saw it for the opportunity it was. They were pumped about it. They're like sharing about it like crazy. They're so excited. And I did get the opinion of a trusted friend who is a Black Summit producer on this, because like I trust her opinion a ton and I wanted to hear what she had to say rather than just trusting my thoughts, because I don't feel like I'm in the position to judge this either. But even she said, like, white speakers don't even get paid to be in most summits. How is it oppressive to people of color who are now getting more opportunities to speak than they were before? So I'm going to leave it at that, since as a white person, I don't feel like my 2 cents matter a whole lot. I'll leave it for you to kind of weigh both sides and decide, but I just had to touch on the oppression portion of it. Another piece of this that's on my mind is that if it's oppressive to not pay your speakers of color or speakers in general, what does it then mean for people who want to host summits who truly can't afford to pay them? Are they oppressed now too? Like, for example, let's take a smaller summit of 15 people and say you wanted to pay each speaker like $200, which to me is almost insulting, you know? Like, if you're going to pay me like $200, no, that doesn't even count, right? Like, that's more insulting than not getting anything. But with that being said, that's already $3,000 that you have to pay for just your speakers right off the bat, not to mention everything else that goes into a summit. A lot of hosts, they don't have $3,000 to spare up front to pay their speakers. You might argue that, well, they can just get sponsorships, but that's another thing, that people who can't afford the $3,000 up front, they would struggle to get sponsors. They probably wouldn't be able to. So it's just not that easy. It doesn't work that way. And like just assuming that, oh, it's easy. They can pay that much. They can go get sponsors. Like, no, you're obviously not educated in how summits work if that's the way you're thinking about this. Instead, my opinion is that I feel like this episode is going to get me in trouble. If I'm saying something really stupid, you guys, please tell me. Instead, my opinion is that if you build in plenty of opportunities for your speakers to truly benefit, you don't need to pay them. I do have an exception that I'm going to mention shortly, but in general, that's my opinion. As a host, it's your job to make sure your speakers benefit and make the process easy for them. So number one, it needs to be easy. Number two, they need to be loaded with opportunities to benefit from this event. So for example, if you do interviews, like how is that any different than the time they'd spend on a podcast interview, which they're not getting paid for, or making a video to go on their YouTube channel? Like it's the same. They're doing that thing to get content out, to get in front of an audience. Why is a summit interview any different? Why should they be paid all kinds of money to do a summit interview? I don't understand clearly. But if you are going to if you're not going to put in the effort to make it easy for them and to make sure they benefit, then heck yes, you better be paying them if you're not going to make sure they benefit. But I think most of you who listen to this podcast and learn from me, you really value your speakers actually getting something out of your event. Like that is truly important to you. So I don't think that point was relevant. So you got to build in opportunities for your speakers to benefit and encourage them to take advantage of those opportunities. So let's touch on what a couple of those can look like. First, you're going to share about them on social media. So yeah, they're a part of your summit, but that's not the only place that they should be seen. If you have a social media channel with an active audience, share about them. And not even necessarily just in the context of your summit by being like, oh, here's my speakers. Just kind of share about this cool new person you found that has this awesome thing going on. Just share about them like you would anytime you saw something awesome. Also, give your speakers a unique and powerful topic in your summit. So this goes back to what I'm always preaching about. Like you need a specific audience and topic in your summit, because if you have a summit for all online business owners and you get one of your speakers a topic of how to start an Instagram account, who cares, right? Like that's not a topic that's going to benefit someone to speak about in most situations. Give them a unique topic that your audience is truly going to be interested in and want to go to. Okay, that's really important for your speakers to benefit. And then you're going to have a targeted audience that matches the speaker's audience. So it's a group of people that they want to get in front of and can benefit by getting in front of. You're also going to let your speakers promote a lead magnet to grow their list. Now, I have been pitched for summits where we're not allowed to promote anything. You're not allowed to promote something free, something paid. You have to have an email list of 5,000 people, but you're not allowed to get anything out of it. Well, that's a heck no, right? There are summits like that are going around. Maybe this is what this person was talking about, but let your speakers promote at least a lead magnet to grow their email list so they can have an opportunity to connect even more with this target audience that you're creating. You're also going to let your speakers set up a tripwire, and if they want to, and put the people that join their list into a funnel to start making money quickly. This is another thing I've started seeing in pitches that come in. They will say either you can't have a lead magnet at all, or you can have a lead magnet, but you cannot have a tripwire. And I'm like, well, try me. Like, I'm just going to do it, right? No, I would say no to that. But for real, you need to let speakers do whatever they want after that initial opt-in. That's up to them to strategically decide how they can benefit people. Maybe they have a tripwire that is so heck yes for people who watch their presentation that it's like doing a disservice for them to not offer that thing. So let your speakers do whatever they want, as it comes to selling to people after the summit and getting them in a funnel so they can make money quickly. Another way you can let your speakers truly benefit is to give them opportunities to connect with the summit audience. And I would recommend making these things optional so that only the people who truly see the value they could get from it feel like they need to do it. But you can let them do things like go live in the Facebook group, around the time that their presentation is live, or host an Ask Me Anything session, either for all attendees or people who purchase the All Access Pass. You can have networking sessions for your attendees and welcome your speakers to join and actually talk to these people. Like, there are so many opportunities you can build in apart from the list growth and income that truly can benefit these people. Also encourage them to connect with each other. Oh my goodness, like all the speakers you have in your summit could make like such incredible collaborations, and everything from, being affiliates for each other, hosting JV webinars, just like being awesome friends who give each other shout outs. That's a great opportunity you can build in as well. And then the last one I want to mention is high affiliate commissions. Give your speakers decent affiliate commissions. I honestly, when I'm pitched for a summit, like I was pitched for one recently where it would have been a 10% affiliate commission. Like, that's just insulting. Like, you don't value what I'm giving your summit enough, and the fact that I'm promoting to like give me a decent commission. So give your speakers at least 40% commissions. I've done as high as 60 before. Give your speakers decent commissions. Another idea I've toyed with is having a minimum payout amount as long as a speaker shares. So if I can see that a speaker is trying to drive traffic, maybe $200 is the minimum payout that I give them. I have not done that yet. I might do it. I don't know. I don't know if I'll do it for my next summit, but that's something I've been thinking about that you could consider if if you feel like, oh, I really want my speakers to get something out of it. From there, it's up to them to take advantage of those things. If they don't want to share about the event, they're not going to get those commissions. If they don't take time to share a targeted lead magnet, they're not going to grow their list and get people into their funnel. And I will say this does work. So if you're listening to this and don't agree with me, like, don't try to tell me that it does not work to let your speakers grow their list and make money through their funnel by being a speaker. I have seen thousands of dollars and hundreds of subscribers come into my business directly from even a single summit that I've been a speaker at. And that is worth so much more to me than like even a $500 speaker fee being paid up front. I would much rather be able to grow my list, have that list of people, and have them buying my program right off the bat, which has happened several times. Okay. So if you're not seeing this, it just means maybe your presentation topic is a little off. The way your presentation is structured is a little off. Maybe you need to work on your lead magnet, work on your funnel, work on what you're saying yes to. Just get really picky so that you can benefit if you're listening to this from a speaker perspective. Some other things that myself and the summit producer I mentioned were chatting about earlier is that if you're going to pay your speakers, they sure as heck better be sharing about the event, right? Because if you're guaranteed they're going to get something out of it, they should be able to guarantee that you do. I know there's going to be people that are like, nope, that's not how that works, but that's how that works. For virtual summits, that's how that works. Unless you're huge and have all this money to spend, if you're going to be paying your speakers, they better be sharing. Okay, off my soapbox here, I want to touch on an exception I think there is of not paying speakers and talk about when I think you should consider paying a speaker. And that is when a speaker can't benefit. So for example, maybe you're bringing in an expert, like a topic expert, who doesn't want to build an email list or they don't have anything to sell. Like the example I'm thinking of is, I don't know, you're hosting some kind of summit for therapists or about some kind of therapy and you want to bring in, a doctor of some sort to talk about a topic and they're a doctor. They're not building an email list or doing anything like that. That is when it would be a great gesture to at least offer to pay someone for their time. If you can add in some extra for their expertise, that's great. But if someone can't benefit, then I think it's time to think about potentially paying those people. I do want to talk about what to do when a speaker asks to be paid. And this kind of goes hand in hand with like, what if I just straight up can't pay people? As of recording this, I have pitched over 100 summit speakers and have never been asked to be paid because of the other benefits I build in and lay out in the email. But it could happen. I know that it has happened to some of my students. Someone has come back and asked if they're going to be paid. Be prepared with an answer up front for this, okay? So personally, I do set aside a budget in case speakers who I really want to participate ask to be paid. But if someone did ask to be paid, I would have a more strict agreement in place requiring them that they did their part to promote, all that good stuff. I also probably wouldn't offer them additional affiliate commissions, although I would still let them promote a lead magnet in their presentation since that adds more value for the attendees as well. Make this judgment for yourself though. Decide what are you going to do if someone asks to be paid for your event. This is an individual decision. Don't necessarily let me sway you on that. Do what feels best for you. So as an overall recap, in most cases, I do not think that you need to pay your speakers for being a part of your summit. Make the process insanely easy for them so it's not eating up a bunch of their time, and build in ways for them to truly benefit through participating in your event. And by benefit, I mean it's easy for them. They can get leads. They can make money through your summit. Have a targeted audience that these people want to get in front of, and then build in ways for them to connect with that audience and let them grow their list and make money. So for your action steps, I want you to get clear on your own thoughts and opinions for this. I want you to write all of those thoughts down, have record of them, and then write out a plan for if you decide you're not going to pay speakers, what you'll do if a speaker does ask to be paid. Is it sorry, I can't do that this round? If it is, that's totally okay. Or are you going to have a set budget where you can offer them a certain amount of money? Figure that out up front so you don't have to think about it and stress over it when or if it happens. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope nothing I said here seems super off base. I know I got a little sassy in the middle of that, but as summit hosts, it's our job to make sure our speakers benefit, and it's up to us to decide what that looks like and just doing a good job to serve both our speakers and attendees well. For show notes and resources mentioned, head to summithosthangout.com/087. In the next episode, we have another fun one. We're going to be chatting about where to save and splurge when planning for your summit, so be sure to tune in for that. Before you go, check out my free masterclass covering the 3-part framework to triple your monthly revenue with the virtual summit while building your email list for free. In this class, we cover the secret to creating a plan you can actually follow to make your summit happen, even if your business is already too busy, how to host a profitable event and land expert speakers without a huge audience of your own, and how to use the 3-part profitable summit system to triple your monthly revenue and the size of your email list. Join us at summithosthangout.com/class. Now go out and take action to plan, strategize, and launch your profitable online summit.